something that you're passionate about. Okay, next, one thing you need to do is create a committee in your club. Create a committee that people are passionate as you about community service, people that have special skills. And once you can create a committee, you supervise and coordinate the committee's work. Another thing you have to do is you need to communicate with the board. The board needs to know what you're doing on your community service projects, and also definitely the club needs to know. Every member in your club needs to know what community service you have coming up. A lot of people join your club for community service, so give them every opportunity you can to do community service projects with you. Okay, let's see. So the steps, easy as 1, 2, 3. First, you need to assess the situation. What are the community assets and needs? One thing you can do is conduct a needs assessment to identify community needs that your club can actually address. Next, choose a project. Choose a project that makes an impact and make sure it's sustainable. You set objectives. You develop a plan. And determine what kind of plan that's actually reasonable. Set an objective that is attainable. Next, you carry out the project. After you're done doing the project, you evaluate your work. So a lot of times you carry out a brand new project and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work. So evaluating your project after it's done is really crucial. It makes you determine what didn't work, and you can apply that to your next community service project. So as I said, a community assessment is important. You need to identify community stakeholders, school principals, first responders, citizen groups, churches, government agencies, social services. One good thing you can do, you can attend one of your neighborhood board meetings, find out what's going on in your actual neighborhood. What do they need? And once you figure out what everybody needs, you analyze the data. You figure out, okay, well, what can we do? And then you figure out what service opportunities are there that are out there that you can actually do to make an impact for these agencies that need your help. And then again, you execute your plan and then evaluate your results. At any time, if anybody has any questions or comments, just raise your hand or unmute yourself, and then we can talk about it. So when you create a service project, Rotary has 6 areas of focus that you can kind of guide yourself on creating a project. So the first one is peace and conflict resolution and prevention. Let's see, one project you can do there would be like maybe an anti-bullying campaign in a school, or something that has to do with mental health issues. Next, disease prevention and healthcare. Right now, one thing you can do would be making masks and distributing masks or hand sanitizer or other things to help prevent this dastardly disease that's going on in the world right now. Water and sanitation, a beach cleanup would probably fill into that category of projects. Let's see, maternal and child health. Not quite sure what you can do as far as a project on that, but I'm sure there are many projects you can do as far as maternal health and child health, prenatal care maybe, education on women's pregnancies. There's various things. See, basic education and literacy. Throughout my time as community service, my favorite project to do would be the dictionary project. That's always, I'm sure many clubs are, everybody should be probably doing this on the island. But yeah, the dictionary project, definitely. Literacy. Dr. Seuss Day will be coming up next year in May. I'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the presentation here. But that would also fall under basic education and literacy. Let's see, economic and community development. I don't know, maybe finding jobs for homeless or placement services, something to develop the community's economic growth. Um, let's see, as I said, Rotary has 6 areas of focus. As I understand, they are actually planning on adding a 7th area of focus, which is climate change and the environment. This is something important. This is something real. This is happening in our lifetime. So I'm sure there's many opportunities for uh, projects to deal with climate change and our environment. Okay, moving on. Project plan. What to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to do it. Let's see. Easy thing to do would be delegate. You can't do it all yourself. Yes, you probably can do it all yourself, but it's easier if you delegate. Find out who in your club is able to help and delegate responsibilities. It'll really take the weight off your shoulders and get more people in your club involved in the project. The more people are involved, the more passionate they are about it. So you can include other organizations, volunteers, other clubs. Let's see, other organizations, like Lions Club, you got Oaks Club, you got other, Kiwanis, other community service-based organizations out there that are willing to help. Volunteers, you got Boy Scouts, you got Girl Scouts, you got high school kids, Interact, Rotaract, you got community volunteers, other clubs. Definitely one thing that I want to stress on this year is getting other clubs involved. It's so much fun when you include another club or you join another club's activity or you all get together to do one community project together. I mean, you meet other Rotarians. Yeah, on the Zoom right here, you can see other Rotarians from all over the district, but when you see them in person from other clubs, it's really great. Next, do you need money? How much money do you need? Is this going to cost money? Do you have money in your budget? Do you need to fundraise money? These are some things that, how much supplies are you going to need? Things like that. See, liability issues. Unfortunately, there may be liability issues. Are you doing something like, say, a painting project and people are going to be standing on a ladder? There may be some issues there. So you might want to take that in mind. I'll be talking about liability issues. I believe it's on the next slide. Let's see, excuse me. Public image. What kind of image are you trying to create for this project? Are you doing something that's really awesome that, the public is going to see it and they're going to get behind it? Or is this something that's going to be kind of on the back page and nobody's really going to see it or know about it? Next, we have opportunities for fellowship and networking. Like I said before, a lot of the people in your clubs, they join for networking and they stay for fellowship. So if you create a project that has opportunities for both fellowship and networking, you're going to get a lot more people involved and behind whatever you're doing. And most importantly, have fun. If it's not fun, nobody's really going to want to do it. Well, I take that back. There's been a lot of projects where I do it just for the fulfillment. Not exactly fun, but it's really fulfilling. And I guess for some people, fulfillment could be some sort of fun. So I guess, in any case, just have fun with what you're doing. Okay, like I said, liability issues. You need to protect the participants. Be proactive. Ask what can go wrong. And of course, everything can go wrong. But you need to ask yourself, okay, in this certain situation, what can go wrong? Do you need insurance? Rotary has insurance. Rotary is insured for community service participants. And if you need to find out more information about that, you can go to the Rotary website for more information on that. See, do you need participation waivers? Are you doing something in the ocean and you need to make sure that people can swim? Are you doing something like hiking and you need to make sure people can climb? Just so, waivers are one way to, kind of cover your back. Another thing is, do you need permission slips for minors? Sometimes parents aren't so keen on letting kids go out in the community. So, maybe you need a permission slip for their parents. let's see, youth protection policy. I believe that's also on the next slide, so I'll talk a little bit more on that in a minute. Let's see. And sometimes if you're doing community service projects, if you're taking photos of people, especially children, sometimes you need a permission to take the photo or release the photo on your website or Facebook or whatever the case may be. And again, are there any risks for injury? You know, sometimes you do things and people get hurt. You know, you need to analyze the risk for people, you know, make sure people don't get hurt, is what I'm trying to say. And you need a risk management to make sure people don't get hurt. And if people do get hurt, do you have an emergency plan? Are you out in the middle of the ocean, you can't get to an ambulance? Or, you know, so again, having an emergency plan for if something happens, you know, are you bringing a first aid kit to your projects? You know, that's one thing. To make sure people don't get hurt, bring a first aid kit. Because if you don't bring a first aid kit, somebody's going to get hurt, guaranteed. Okay, so like I said, here's the youth protection policy, Rotary's statement of conduct for working with youth. Rotary International strives to create and maintain a safe environment for all youth who participate in Rotary activities. To the best of their ability, Rotarians, Rotarian spouses, and partners and other volunteers must safeguard the children and young people they come into contact with and protect them from physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. It's really important, you know, because you don't want parents suing Rotary for something that happened to their kid while they were on your service project or whatever the case may be. So make sure you protect all the youth that you come into contact with that are volunteering for you at all times.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So I've a couple times I've asked, and maybe this is the wrong place to ask, but in some of my other board meetings, I'm working with Kapuna also in addition to kids, it's come up that some insurance coverages do not cover for virus liability. And so a lot of these businesses that are going back and coming up and running may or may not have coverage if somebody gets the virus. So for us with our group activities, not just for our members, but again with RILA, I'm thinking of RILA for next year if we actually end up doing it, but even going forward, are we covered? Do we know if our insurance covers it? And that's probably a question for Naomi or other folks, but just you're talking about it right now, liability wise, making sure that we're actually covered when we go forward, because we've got a serious situation here that may not be resolved for some time. And our club is really built on, you know, group activity and you know, service above self, including folks. We want to make sure that we're covered going forward. So I'm just throwing that out there as something to, you know, I don't know if anybody here knows if we're covered or not. We do have some insurance people that are probably right here with us. That
Rick,
yep.
I'm the insurance expert, supposedly for the district. Yeah. I will find out from Gallagher, who's the manager of the RI policies. Now they're about to be renewed in July. There may be some change to the coverage. So I will find out, and we'll get that taken care of.
Really appreciate it, Rich. Thank you. Okay.
Well, I guess the biggest thing we can take away from this is no matter what we're doing, we got to be safe. You know, if we're doing anything in the community, as of right now, I mean, the world's a weird place right now, I know, and there's going to be a lot of different conducts that we have to do in order to protect ourselves and to protect others. So, you know, it's again, it's going to be hard to create projects right now that are safe, but, or, you know, even things that, you know, like say we got in our club, we have a school supply drive that I got planned for next month. I'm going to have to cancel that because, you know, it's just not safe. So, any other comments on working with youth?
I had a question, if I might. This is Gwen Picaro. The question really is related to this, but as we're developing service projects, they are going to take on a different sense of how many people we can have come to them, how much interaction there can be, whether or not we provide protective gear if we're interacting with other people. And I'm just wondering if the district or Rotary International is planning to come out with any guidelines to help us in that sense?
Well, the best answer I can come up with would be just to follow CDC guidelines. You know, make sure you're doing everything to stay safe. That's really the best advice I can come up with right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to, okay, so once you have a project in mind, it's time to implement it. Think about your timeline. Is this happening today, next week, next month, next year, 3 years from now? You know, figure out a timeline when your project is going to take place, how long is it going to take to get everything together, and then you know, figure out that. And then once you figure out a timeline, you figure out budget. Does your club have the money? Do you have a budget? Do you need to create money? Do you need to fundraise money? You know, how much is this project going to actually cost? And then your action plan is what's the goal? As I said earlier in the presentation, what is your actual goal? There has to be a goal of your project, and who is responsible? You know, if is the Rotary Club going to be ultimately responsible? Is the members in your club going to be responsible? You need to figure out who's doing what. You know, like say if I'm having a project and somebody needs to bring water, it's so-and-so's responsibility to make sure, you know, you don't want to do a beach cleanup and the person who's responsible for bringing a case of water doesn't know about it. So you need to figure out who's responsible for what duties. And then the due dates. Again, with the timeline, you know, a due date is important. An actual physical date is what makes this whole plan come together. You know, if you have something that's just up in the air, like, oh, I've got a problem, or I've got a project that, you know, I need things, but, you know, I just don't know. If you have a certain due date that puts pressure on you and the other members of your club to actually get it done by that date and then show up on that date. Okay. So resources and supplies, you know, this is something important you need to think about. What supplies do you need for the project? And definitely manpower. I would say manpower, volunteers, you know, this is the on the low on the list over here, but it should be really on the top of the list. Manpower, I would say, would be your biggest hurdle to overcome during your community service year. You know, it's always volunteers. If you don't have volunteers, you can't really, you know, what's a big project if only 2 people show up? You know, you need to make sure you have the manpower to actually complete and do the project. Okay, public image. You know, you promote the project in the media, social media, newsletters. Have the beneficiary of the project publicize it too. Are you doing a project for a community center? Have them publicize it through their media means. And then by doing that, you may get new members. I know our club has actually gotten a few new members by doing community projects that involve the beneficiary of the project. Not only, you know, like say media, it doesn't have to be, you know, like the news media. There's other things like Olelo, Hikino, other media outlets that you can utilize that are more than willing to cover your service project. Let the members in your club know. Like I said before, you definitely got to let the members of your club know every project that you're doing. For me personally, I had there was one year I had a little bit of a revolt because I was doing too many projects. People were saying, I don't know if that's possible, but you know, people were saying there's too many emails, you're sending out too many reminders, you're sending out this. But then on the other hand, I got a lot of praise. People were saying, oh my gosh, you know, this is awesome. You're doing so much, you know, how can I help? You know, so definitely let the members know. They may get irritated with all the notices and reminders and emails, but you do it. Other clubs, definitely get other clubs involved. You know, like I said before, it's a lot more fun when you have other Rotarians. You know, not only get other clubs involved with your stuff, you get your members involved with other clubs' things. And how do you do that? You let the district know. Uh, let the district PR chair know what you have going on. They can put it on the district calendar. Um, Upcoming this year, I'm going to try and get together all of the community service directors in each club. I'm going to put them, get them together on an email list and maybe send out, you know, maybe monthly reminders or quarterly, just to check in, see how it's going, you know, what projects you have coming up, and then you put it on the district calendar, send out maybe quarterly, send out, you know, like a district newsletter, letting everybody know in the district what each club is doing, what they have doing, what they got coming up. You know, it's just an idea I have out there, but definitely work with other clubs. It's a lot of fun. Banners. Banners is very important. You need to, when you do a service project, if you have a club banner, if you have a four-way test banner, if you have a pop-up tent that has a Rotary logo on it, bring it. If you have literature, brochures, anything that has Rotary information, bring it. You'll have people coming up to you asking, what are you doing? What is Rotary? You know, so if you have literature, information, you know, it lets the public know more about Rotary and, you know, get new members. Press release, you should have a PR chair in your club. Let them know what you're doing, have them do a press release, get it out in the media, social media, Facebook, you know, all of that good stuff. News coverage, like I said, there's not only the you know, Hawaii News Now, there's other outlets that will provide news coverage for you. Just let them know. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast? Yes, no? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
good. Sounds good, Steve. You're good. We're
Okay.
about 15 minutes before the windup, so go for it.
Okay. Looks like I right on track here then. Moving on. Here's some service opportunity days. Again, you know, with this current situation, it's tentative, but the first one coming up, Rotary Gives Thanks Day, November 28th. November seems like it's really close, but it's actually, you know, kind of far away, you know, so who knows what's going to go on in November. One option we have going on, Peely with the Eco Club, she's trying to organize a statewide tree planting event. Even with the regulations going on right now, a tree planting event sounds like a really great idea. You can social distance, it's out in the open, you can get a lot of people involved. It's really great for the environment. So again, so November 28th, 2020, Rotarian Gives Thanks Day. Next, Dr. Seuss Day. March 2nd, 2021 is Dr. Seuss Day. And I believe Joanne Laird, I forget what club she's from. I believe it's one of the Maui clubs. If anybody knows, you can chime in. But Joanne Laird will be heading up to Dr. Seuss Day. She's going to encourage everybody to read a book at an elementary school. March 2nd, 2021. So that's over about a year from now. So, you know, that's possible. April 24, 2021, Rotarians at Work Day. Rotarians at Work Day, yeah, we missed it this year. It's something to where every Rotarian around the world is encouraged to do something in their community. So April 24, 2021, I'm gonna try and think of something we can do as a district to try and really make an impact, to have everybody contribute to a big Rotarians at Work Day. And if not, then, you know, each club, up to you as a community service director in your club to figure out what to do for Rotarians at Work Day. Our club this past year, we were going to do the water station as we do every year for the March of Dimes walk. We've been doing that for many years, but the March of Dimes walk got canceled this year. So again, Rotarians at Work Day got canceled this year. So you know, moving forward, you know, it's really good to plan, even though that if you can't implement a project right now, you know, it's always good to plan for the project right now. You know, like say if you got something coming up in September, you know, you can always plan for it. You know, you can get everything set up, you know, get volunteers ready, you can get things, you know, maybe if there's a safe way of doing it, you can do that, but you know, just plan events in ahead of time. If it comes to that date and you have to cancel it, then that's just what it is. You know, you cancel, you know, moving on to the next project. Everybody on the same page as far as these dates and creating projects. Okay. Once you do your project, as I said earlier, evaluate it. One thing everybody has access to is your Rotary Club Central. As a community service director for your club, you have access to your Club Central account. Keep notes in your Club Central folder. Input the service goals in your Rotary Club account. These goals are not set in stone. Like say if you wanted to put a goal of 40 service projects in the year, you can do that. And you can always change it as the years go on, and or as the year progresses rather. And keep notes in your club folder. You know, say what happened with this individual project, what went good, what went bad, and then you can move forward. You know, say next year when you look at that same project, you can go, oh wow, this went really good and this went really bad. Let's implement that and make that same project better in the years going forward. And once you update each service project in your Rotary Club Central, and then you update it when the project is completed. I know it may seem like a pain sometimes, like especially if you've got to go on there after every service project and you got to say, okay, well, how many people showed up? How many hours were we there? How much money did we collect? But if you do that for every project and update it after every project, and you can follow it as the year progresses, you can see, oh wow, you know, at the end of the year, you can give a final report to your club and say, look, this is the amount of projects that we completed as a club. This is the amount of volunteer hours we completed as a club. This is the amount of money we donated. This is the amount of money we fundraised for a certain event. And, you know, other things, you know, how many community partners did you partner up with? And, you know, there's other things that you can update in the Club Central. So I urge everybody that has access to your Club Central account, go on there and list all of the projects you did, update it when it's done, and you'll be amazed at the end of the year. Once you do that, you can also upload your project to Rotary Showcase. So if you go to rotary.org/showcase under the Take Action tab and click on the Rotary Showcase, upload your project on there, and it'll be showcased on the Rotary International website. That's another thing you can do to get ideas about projects you can do. You know, you go onto Rotary Showcase and you can see Rotary clubs from around the world. What are they doing? Say if you wanted to plan something for seasonal events, you can go on there and see what is, you know, Rotary clubs on the mainland doing during December. You can, you know, click on different, what am I trying to say? Seasons, and, you know, see what projects are out there, and then, you know, get ideas for what you can do in your individual Rotary clubs to create a project. Any questions so far? I'm gonna move on. I think that's about it. Yeah. So
Okay.
get out there, impact your community with service. I'm gonna open it up for questions. If not, then Benson can unmute everybody. We can open it for open discussion maybe.
Okay, yeah, let's do some questions. Kat had a couple of comments. Kat, you want to go ahead and unmute your mic because you wanted to chat a little bit about COVID-19?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Happy to. I just wanted to report out, as you see there that I put in the chat, those are preliminary results. And we'd like to have maybe 4 to 5 times as many Rotarians reporting. You can see that generally the Rotarians are quite happy with how our local government has been managing the response to COVID-19. The highest percentage of reporting for symptoms and or testing was approximately 14%. So those are very early responses. So the intention of the survey was to make sure that we who are giving so much to our communities are ourselves taking care and being healthy and energetic so that we can continue these projects. And there are many very useful comments that I'm happy to put in a report with some graphics, and I guess Naomi might be able to send them out to everyone. But I just wanted to let you know it's ongoing, it's early stages, and as we have more results, we'll be able to give you more specific connections of patterns between what's happening with Rotarians, not only for themselves, but for the people that they live with and for the people who live in their community. And then we do have some indications that certain Rotarians would like to be in closer support connection with their own clubs, either for mental health, jobs, and or food and shelter. So I just thought that might be useful to know. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay.
Oh, thank
Kat?
you.
Yeah,
That's
thanks, Lauren.
good information.
Kat, this is Joanne Dole from Kihei Wailea. Hi.
Uh-huh.
Hi,
Hi.
I just tried to copy and paste your stats into a document and it wouldn't paste. So I would really appreciate getting the data from Naomi or whomever to
Sure.
Kihei Wailea. Thank you so much for your work.
You're welcome. I promise we'll get that out, well, depending on Naomi's schedule, sometime this week.
Okay.
Hey, Stephen, I wanted to give Peely a chance to talk about her Rotary Gives Thanks Day. Peely,
Yeah, is she in here?
yeah, she looks like she's in here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Hey.
go ahead.
I'm always there watching you guys.
Good, thanks.
So good morning, everyone. And thank you, Benson and Stephen, to open the opportunity for me to promote the tree planting. I know that many of you already are familiar with the project. I've been bugging many people already. So, so to talk about the tree planting project is basically our club is trying to do a tree planting on November 28 for Rotary Gives Thanks. We are aiming to plant around 5,000 trees, but the challenge right now is to follow a protocol where we can follow the safety guidelines. We don't put anyone on risk of COVID-19. We don't know how the picture is going to be on November 28, but we are going to prepare. Has anybody out there heard? Yeah, we are going to prepare very hard for it. And so what we are asking now is for clubs to come together so we can put together like a big crew of volunteers. We can, of course, accomplish the goal that we have. So right now, we are going to do it island-wide. We are already talking with possible committees on each island. Benson is gonna be in charge of the Big Island. And yeah. Right? And Rich, he's gonna help me, hopefully, with the liability part and the risk assessment. Right, Rich? Thank you. So if anyone is interested in doing this joint project, and I haven't reached out to you yet, so I put in the chat my email address, and you can email me and I can have your information down, and I will forward soon more information about the entire project and how we are going to execute it. But just so you know, it's gonna be a project of each island, hopefully, 5,000 trees, and on November 28th. Let me know if you have questions.
Okay, that's super awesome. So we're down in the last 3 minutes. Are there any other community service chairs on the call that would like to add something to Stephen's presentation? Just unmute yourself and go for it.
I'm going to put my contact info in the chat right now if anybody wants to contact me for anything.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for Stephen or anybody else? Okay. Okay, well, we're going to kind of wind it up here. Thanks, Stephen. You did a killer job. You know, if you want to put your contact information in the chat, then you can go ahead and do it. I will stop the recording of this when we're done, and we'll post the recording if you want to listen to it again. I want to thank everybody for logging into the call. So, because this is what Rotary does, man. You know, people join for two reasons. They wanna be in Rotary because they want to network with other Rotarians to do good things for the community. And if we're doing community service, then that's what we're supposed to be doing. And it's an awesome responsibility, but also an awesome thing for us to be able to contribute out there. So, Stephen, I'm going to give you the last word, and then we'll wrap it up.
The last word for me is everybody, no matter what you're doing, stay safe.
Cool. Hey, man. So that ends our presentation. We're going to have Bob here in a second.